Brad, what do we do with all these old heads?
We're all of a sudden.
What do we do? These old ass players.
I wasn't ready for that, for how you asked that. That was crazy. That was hilarious.
Well, I'm just pissed because this is supposed to be a team run by 21-year-olds, and
That's what everyone's begging for.
We have these guys in diapers trying to act like they can still play basketball.
The oldest men in the world are three key pieces to this Portland Trailblazers team.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Jerami, Dame, Jrue. Three geriatric old men are incredibly key parts of this Blazer team. And I love it. Because nowadays, if you're a young team that has anyone over the age of like 24, I mean, we saw this last year. Everyone just screams at you.
Everyone goes,
what are you doing? What? Give the keys to the young guys. It's like, what? The Wizards are playing like the youngest and worst team you've ever seen in your life before they brought in their vets.
His name is literally Bub. They're playing a guy named
Bub. I know. Beautiful. Yeah.
I think people are still there's definitely a good subset of people who are really upset by, or confused, I think is maybe the proper word for for why we brought in Jrue. And I think a lot of that has to do with contract, which I think we'll get to. But listening to Jrue's press conference the other day, really, I think hammered home to me, at least, or people who are listening, I hope, that just because this guy is 35, just because he is maybe past his best years, not only of playing, but of like team play, right? He's coming from 2 championship teams, and yes, Portland is not ready to win a championship now, but what I took away from it doesn't mean this guy doesn't want to win, right?
Yeah, like, for sure.
Jrue Holiday is such a consummate professional that he's going to do whatever it takes to win, and he expressed that very clearly in his press conference in a lot of ways.
Honestly, it's to win. I feel like that's always been the ultimate goal ever since you started playing basketball, is to win. And whatever that may look like. Obviously, taking small wins is great, but winning is what we do, is what we play this game for. So if it's getting to the playoffs, if it's winning the championship, I feel like winning is the purpose and the reason why I'm here.
Well, here's what I think is cool about what Jrue said is that, every guy comes in and says they want to do whatever it takes to win. Like, that's like the absolute most cliche line for any sport in any press conference. What I thought was that would prove that, and I thought would emphasize that, and the most important thing of what he meant by that was he really said he didn't want to be pigeonholed as or stereotyped as one type of guard.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be a ball dominant point guard because I play the point guard position. I like that he talked about his insane versatility. He literally said, I think I can play every position.
I think I play every position. I think I've proven that and shown that throughout my career. I think for me, I'm a complete basketball player, so you can't just put just one position on me. And even the way the game is changing now, there's so many guys who may have never played point guard, and you come into the league and they're playing point guard now. So
I think he meant he can post people up. Like, I literally think he meant I can run some small ball center.
Yeah, exactly. I think he really thinks that. I think he truly, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so important, is that what he's saying is I can fit literally any role on this team. And I think he means that. So when he says he wants to be, do whatever it takes to win, a lot of the times you hear that, but they want to do whatever it takes to win as long as they get to play their game. What he's saying is that I can play any type of game. It doesn't mean he doesn't want to be that he'd be willing to, play 10 minutes a night, because I don't think that's true, and I don't think that's going to happen. But the reason that's so good for the, playing next to Scoot, playing next to Shaden conundrum that I think a lot of people are in, is he literally specifically talked about playing off ball to those guys.
Scoot is aggressive, and how he gets to the basket is amazing. I think that me being able to space the floor and shoot the three is something that would help him out. And I know he's been shooting the ball better, and he's been in the gym and working. But I think for me, just being able to play off him, knowing that Scoot is kind of the next one up, and to be able to go out here and really just showcase what he can do.
He talked about I can be a spacer and a 3-point shooter for Scoot. That's a huge thing to say.
Yeah.
Because that's him affirming that he doesn't just want to be a ball dominant point guard, which was never Jrue's game. I mean, actually in Philadelphia it sort of was, and it worked out fine. But he's saying I can play next to Scoot. I can be the off guard to Scoot, which is huge. Right. It's saying that he really will do whatever it takes to win because he's so versatile that he's going to have a big part, and it could be literally anything. I think that's a massively important thing to hear from him.
You and I have been bigger Anthony supporters than I think the general Blazer public, and we still see his skill set as valuable, obviously on this team that needs a lot of shooting, but I think he really did need a lot more of like touches to get himself going, because he's such a volcano scorer that it felt like he needed those first couple shots in the night to get himself going. And I think what Jrue is admitting, and what I believe, is that he's such a veteran presence who knows exactly like what to do, that I think Jrue could not shoot for the first 3 quarters and then take 6 spot-up 3-pointers at the end of a game and go 3 for 6 and help us win a game, right? And I just don't think that was a role that Anthony was looking for. I think he was looking for a little more of get his. And yeah, Jrue's stats last year didn't jump off the page. Jrue knows how to perfectly take a backseat role that's still effective. And not to even mention on the defensive end, I looked this up the other day, like Jrue is still in the 95th percentile of difficult matchups in the NBA.
Yeah.
And Tumani's 99th percentile. So now on this team, we have 2 people who are taking the top 5% hardest assignments night in, night out in the NBA last year.
Yeah.
On the same team.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's insane. And not just take those assignments, because every team has to have a guy who takes those assignments, but are 2 of the most successful guys at taking that assignment.
Yeah.
So it's like, imagine being an offensive player for another team and you call a pick to get Tumani off of you, and all of a sudden, like, Jrue's on you, and then you actually finally somehow find a way to get past him if possible, and then Klingon is in the paint. Yeah. Like, dude, that is so that's unbelievably wild to think about. And the fact that, because here's the thing, I think Jrue, this is what I take from what Jrue wants role-wise from this team, is I don't think he's, like I said, he's not going to be a guy who's going to be happy playing 5 minutes, but he's going to be a guy who's happy doing anything.
Yeah.
Because like you said, he could go 3 quarters without shooting, and as long as he still feels like he has important value to this team, which he's going to, because he said he wants to help as much as possible. Yeah. He wants to try to win. He seems to love Chauncey. He knows what it's like to win a championship. He's having like championship talk. This is not a guy who I think wants to come in and play 5 minutes, but it's also not a guy who wants to come in and be, a ball dominant guard who's gonna be a detriment to the team for their own gain.
Yeah.
He's going to be a guy who will have a pretty big role in this team, but it's going to be whatever we need it to be. Yeah. And he's one of the only guys who I actually have full faith in that being true for.
Totally. And he's proven it, like, kind of every step of the way, just who he is as a person. We've mentioned, like, all the awards he's won, like teammate of the year, like literally called by the NBA the best teammate.
Every year he's winning like greatest guy around awards. Yeah. So which is hilarious. I love that those awards exist. Yeah. There's someone out there who's mad that they lost that to Jrue. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're like, fuck, I thought I was a teammate of the year.
I was almost the man.
I was so nice this year, and they didn't realize it. Nice. You know who I think role-wise Jrue's reminding me of? Because, I mean, the question for this pod is like, what are these guys going to be for us? Like, what are we doing with these? Again, I think all you've heard from Blazer fandom is handing the key to the young guys, and we actually got older, which we agree is a great thing. And I think we want to explain why. I think this is a comparison that I think Blazer fans will hear and be like, oh, okay, like that makes sense where he's going to be. I think he's going to be what Iguodala was for the Warriors to us. Yeah. Iguodala's a guy who, like, he was younger when he joined the Warriors.
Yeah.
But he played as the same age as Jrue right now, played 26 minutes a night on a championship team. And, played some of the most unselfish basketball ever played. It was just like an incredibly important defensive player who scored when he needed to, was an incredible teammate and leader, and just fit into that role gorgeously. And he talks about how happy he is he did that. And Iguodala was Jrue's mentor.
Yeah, one was Andre Iguodala. He was a jerk. My rookie year, he was just on you, or he was on me. He was on me about a lot, and I didn't really understand why until later. He obviously saw something in me that I guess I hadn't seen yet.
He talked about that in the press conference. Yeah. I can't imagine there being a more positive mentor for the role that I think Jrue is going to play with Portland than Andre Iguodala. If he's able to fill that role of late career Iguodala, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect because Iguodala didn't need 30 shots. He put up 8 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists in 26 minutes and was the best defender on the team.
Yeah.
Like, or, second. I'm a big Klay Thompson defense supporter.
And Draymond.
And Draymond. Oh, my God. Am I stupid?
But we think Jrue just needs to be the third best defender. Tumani, Donovan Clingan, Jrue. We're not asking him to be the best defender by any means.
I never forgot about Draymond Green as a good defender. I'm losing my mind. What's cool, what's interesting about Jrue compared to the other two veterans on the team, Jerami and Dame, is honestly, it almost feels like we're going to have 3 Iguodalas, which would be amazing. But I think Jrue's role is more set in stone right now than Jerami and Dame, which is strange to say because Jeremy's been here for years now and Dame is an absolute legend of the team. But because Jerami, I think the only reason at the end of the day people would be upset about Jerami on this team is because of the role that we think he is going to be, in Chauncey's eyes, entitled to. Because I think what you and I can agree with is Jerami should get the role that he's earned and that is best for the team. That's all anyone wants. And it was at times feeling last year that he was getting minutes and touches because of his reputation. Yeah, more so than what he was earning, especially offensively. I think almost entirely offensively. Because I think you and I would agree that Jerami in a smaller role is an absolutely perfect type of player for this team. And that's a big question mark on if Chauncey and Jerami are going to be willing to do that. Because I get the idea from Jerami that he would like to be traded based on what he said in press conferences. They asked him about, his future at the team. He says that's something I need to talk to Joe Cronin about. To me, there's 2 options. He's willing to take a smaller role. And I think last year he showed that, especially as like a 4th best defender, he's an incredible addition to this team. Because I personally don't give a shit about contracts. People talk some of the contract. What about his? I'm not paying it. It's not coming out of my pot. You know what I mean? It's not coming out of my wall. I don't give a shit if someone has a bad contract if they're a positive contribution to this team. Because I hear I would love Jerami if he was on a $15 million a year contract. It's like, dude, you should love guys for what they bring to the basketball court. Of course, we can fantasize about where that money could be going, but that's a moot point. And Jerami, I think in the second half of the season was a positive. He had one of the worst offensive declines I've ever seen as a Blazer fan, but defensively, when they were put in that role as the 4th best defender with Denny, Tumani, and Klingan, and all of a sudden he was the 3rd or 4th best defender, he was awesome. We had our best lineup by a mile, had Jerami in it. If he's able to have an offensive rebound, offensive rebound, but a rebound for the season offensively, which I think is entirely possible. He had one of the biggest statistical drop-offs from at the rim scoring in NBA history. He went from, I don't remember exactly what the numbers are, but he went from above average to one of the worst in the league. And it felt like a fluke because he's still only 31 and he's still a great addition defensively. If he's able to have a bounce back season, because like I was saying, to me, it could go 2 ways. Or 3 ways. Let's say 3 ways. He could have a bounce back season, and we now have a guy who's a perfect 4th best defender on this team, 5th best on it. Honestly, 4th or 5th with Jrue playing on the team. We have a guy who's having a bounce back season now is like the 4th or 5th best defender on the team, which he's shown is an awesome role for him. Or he just accepts a smaller role, which I actually think he would. Jerami seems like a good guy who actually likes being in Portland. He lives here during the summer. He's one of my students' neighbors. They are. Apparently, every time they leave the house, they're in 3rd grade, they bring a jersey out of him just in case they run into him. Big shout out to those guys. Or the third option is he doesn't want to take. He still has taken a step back offensively, but doesn't want to take a smaller role, which I don't see.
I mean, again, we said from the beginning, Jerami coming off the bench is a Jerami from 2 years ago coming off the bench is up there for 6th man of the year.
Sure. Yes, 1,000%. And what's cool is that if he does have a bounce back season, it really does serve as a pretty good insurance if Shaedon doesn't take that next step. There's a lot of possibilities for Jerami that I think are all positive. And I think if you ignore the contract situation, I don't think there's many negatives to keeping Jerami on this team.
Yeah, definitely not. And again, that is what everyone harps on, is the contract situation. And I like your point, who gives a shit about the contracts.
Yeah.
To play the devil's advocate of this pod, or basically what is just the consensus opinion with Jrue and Jerami's contracts. Yes, if the two of them hit an old person wall and just drop, we're in a bad spot, right? We're in a bad, unflexible spot with the two of them because they're eating a good amount of money for the next 3 years, right?
You're right. I'm so sick of all these nerds with their contract talk.
But even if they do drop off in that regard, this is a year that people I've heard around are okay if we don't even make the playoffs. They're like, well, like, let's make the play in, maybe bottom, maybe lose, and then get our pick again, right? Once it becomes 2 years or 1 year left and expiring, I mean, look at what Chris Middleton got traded this year for his contract. CJ McCollum got traded for his expiring contract. Those are two players that remind me a lot of like Jrue Holiday and Jerami Grant if they fall off a cliff, right? Like they would have to fall off a cliff to be worth the value of an expiring contract that CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton are right now. So
do you remember what Jerami shot last year, just off the top of your head?
It was like 38% from the field.
It was 37.3%. You're right, 37.
It can only go up from there. I would bet so much money that Jerami Grant is shooting at least 40% from the field next year.
I agree.
So it can only go up. I think I like the most what you said of we have 3 Andre Iguodalas with these guys. We have defensive guard Andre Iguodala, we have wing Andre Iguodala, and we have offensive guard Iguodala.
That's exactly right.
Right? And so if these guys, if the problem that arises is that Scoot and Shaden become too good and these guys need to go to the bench and we have to convince them, that is the perfect place to be, right?
Oh, it's perfect. Because I think we have a bunch of guys who would do that.
I think we believe in the character of all 3 of those players to do that. Well, this is not Jonathan Kuminga at 35 years old saying, I need my starting spot. Where's my money?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, these guys have their money, they have their families, and they've already done, a career's worth of winning. And Jeremy's 31. We act like he's literally 39.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
They act like his career's over. It's just we had a weird year, and now he's not the oldest guy anymore. I think the fact that all 3 of these guys are here together really boosts their own morale.
When we started off, we didn't have any kids, and now we have multiple kids. It's going to be really cool, especially because I'm not the only one that has kids. I don't know how many guys on the team have kids currently, but now I know there's somebody who has multiple kids, and really excited about that.
Well, that's what. Then we bring up another interesting case with Dame. Is I actually, and I love him, but I think he's almost could possibly be in the most difficult position going forward because his press conference kind of surprised me. He seemed to really expect to come back and be a starter when he's healthy, which I think we've talked about that. Last video, you said, like, I expect him to be a starter day one, and I disagreed. But judging from what both him and Chauncey said in that press conference, it sounds like that's the plan. It's, again, we've already talked endlessly about how the Dame is the biggest win-win situation ever.
Yeah.
And I still believe that because it's like, sure, he's coming back and expecting to be a starter, but I have no doubt that if he proves that he's worthy, I hate saying that word, if he's worthy, because Dame's deserving of being starter day one. But if he proves that that's the kind of player he still is, that's awesome. If he shows that he isn't, I personally can't imagine he wouldn't relinquish that role to Scoot or, whoever it is who'd be taking that spot, hopefully Scoot. So, yeah, I mean, that's just we're in 3 good positions of win-win-win-win situations because we have 3 super high character guys who could end up being really, really good. If they don't end up being really, really good, you imagine would be super happy taking smaller roles coming off the bench and letting those young guys who hopefully will also be really, really good. Of course, there's always the, like we've talked about a million times, this is the coin flip team. It could be, if everything works out, they're all great, incredible. We have the deepest team in the league. If only the old guys are really good, that's awesome. We have like a mix of good young guys and good veterans who could put together a really good team. Just the young guys are good. That's also awesome because we have veterans who would be happy to give that role up to those younger guys. And now we have an exciting young team. To me, it's the perfect team creation. I give a big shout out to Joe Cronin that he got a lot of guys that it's hard to get a lot of guys who are that good at that age who would be most likely very willing to take a smaller role.
Yeah.
And still be super helpful and positive additions to a team. Or they both suck, and at least we know that. At least the old guys and young guys both suck. We have endless draft picks coming up. Either way, I mean, we've already talked about this, but we're in an awesome situation.
Yeah, we believe we are in awesome, and we truly do believe it. And I think, the national media, and it might just be kind of typical, like, I don't know what Portland's doing, and I don't really want to think too deeply about it, so I'm not going to.
Exactly.
Which is where they just kind of brush over and go, the Jrue trade, that was kind of weird.
It's not that the media, like, hates the Blazers. I think people, small market teams like us, the fan bases, we like to, like, and I feel this way. We like to, like, be the underdogs.
Yeah.
Which is fun, especially in a media sense. It's more that the media just doesn't care enough to deeply think about the Blazers draft and cap situation and talent acquisition situation.
They just don't want to see the nuance and really dissect, like, what does getting rid of Anthony Simons look like? What can you get back for that? What were the options? Because I think you're seeing right now, again, and we mentioned this, but Boston's trying to offload Anthony Simons very publicly and can get nothing for him, which
I hate to see, dude.
Anthony, yes. But so when you take that into account, and everyone talked about how we need to move Anthony Simons to make way for Scoot and Shaden, and then you bring Jrue in, and everyone goes, well, now why did they do that? That's just crazy. It's like you are just stopping right at the headline and doing no work into it. So
exactly.
We're here to tell you, if you think that the Jrue Holiday trade sounds good, and you're hearing everywhere on ESPN people say it's crazy, it's dumb, it's not gonna work, we're here to tell you that it has a chance to work. We understand the vision, and we can see the reason. We can obviously see the reasons why it might not work, but we're here to tell you that there's a way it does work, and you should believe that it can work. If you love the elderly, smash the like button right now for us. We support the elderly here on the Blazers Are Cool podcast. Jrue, Dame, and Jerami. We love you guys.
Yeah.
We'll be rooting for you.
Also, smash the like button and subscribe if you think the Blazers are cool.
Yeah. Yeah. They should do that. I think so.
Yeah.
I think they should do that.
They should.
It is with a like. It is with subscribe. And we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next week.